Hey, this is Brian,
And Shelby.
and you're listening to the Hyperspace.
Pod Blast. Aren't you a little short for a podcast?
Huh?
Welcome to Hyperspace Pod Blast.
Bum-ba-da-bum-ba-da-bum-ba-da-bum.
Pod Blast.
Wow, we didn't even rehearse that at all.
I'm proud of us.
We are
We're not even
awesome.
being we're not joking like, oh, we didn't rehearse it at all.
Yeah, no, we didn't. That just happened. That was organic, everyone. Free range
Organic.
intro.
Makes you feel like you're better than everyone else.
Exactly. You're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah. So, earlier this week, the Nerdist tweeted out an article with the title, "On hashtag Harry Potter's birthday, let's discuss how we're long overdue for a Harry Potter TV series." Wah, wah. Which is not something we need, just FYI, in case anyone's wondering. If you want one, good for you. It's not something we need. Anyway, this led me to ponder the necessity of always giving fans more. Like, sure, it's a supply and demand thing. Like, we're creating this space for people to just throw content at us because we keep gobbling it up, even when we don't like it. That was me for a long time. I've finally gotten over this have to do all Star Wars. Now I just dabble in what I like. But anyway, so yeah, in this episode, we're going to discuss what 3 Star Wars characters we want to know more about to have more stories about, whatever. And then what 3 Star Wars characters we think we are good with, or maybe they've already done too much with. So, going back and forth, we'll start with our top 3, our give me more of this person, or droid, or, whatever. This planet even, I guess. Maybe. You want the backstory of Tatooine. Was it formed in a Big Bang or what? Okay, I think I'm funny. Anyway, so who's first for you, Shelb?
Who's on first?
Second base.
I want to see more DJ.
Oh, you took my...
I know.
How dare you?
Well, it's a good one.
Of course it is. He's the best character in Star Wars.
Well, he's the most interesting, and I think he's the most different.
Well, and he offers so much variety. I mean, think of how many places they've put Hondo in, right? And DJ is like a more neutral, ambivalent Hondo even.
Yeah.
So you
like
can
it.
really...
And he's less silly. He's just more kind of like
Right,
rough
yeah,
around
like
the edges.
matter of
He's more of
fact.
an adult-y sort of version of
That's a really good point, yeah.
Hondo.
He's the less comic reliefy Hondo.
Which, I don't know if that's good or not. I like that part about Hondo.
True, no, Hondo's awesome. But, yes, to DJ, like 1,000 more DJ stories. Honestly, the one extra DJ thing we have with his comic book was kind of like, okay, could have been better.
I just would like the idea of him coming back in another film.
Dude, I hope Rian Johnson's trilogy is about DJ. That'd be amazing.
Oh my
I would be
gosh.
like the only person that would be stoked, but
You'd have the whole theater and Brian's in the back going, woo!
yeah. Yeah! Whoa!
I just think that he's a character that we don't see a lot in Star Wars. The idea of someone who's just kind of meh about the galaxy in general.
Right, someone
Is-
that's like legitimately out for himself.
Yeah,
Like I think I've said before, he's Han Solo without the heart of gold.
yeah.
Like if Han Solo was actually the person he wanted to be in his head instead of who he is in his heart,
Stop it.
he would be DJ. Like DJ is what people assumed Han Solo was until he came back in A New Hope with his yeehaw and blow this thing, let's go home.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So yeah, more DJ.
Please more DJ.
He's a great character
And not in
because-
comics. Write him a novel.
Yeah.
Give him a decent treatment.
I think that he deserves like a really fleshed out story with like motivations, and I kind of want to see his progression to Don't Join.
Yeah, I would be 100%
I want to see.
up for
I would.
that.
I would also love to hear that he was like this super gung ho, passionate about some cause
Mm-hmm.
multiple times,
He
and
just
it
kept
just
getting
like
burned.
beat him down, and like I don't know. I mean, I guess that goes back to that whole idea like. Not everything has to be dark and terrible, but also I
True.
like the idea of someone who kind of loses their faith in
Everything.
any cause.
Yeah, he's kind of like a Baze without a Chirrut.
Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm. I just thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
He's like a little less moral Baze.
Brian's mind blowers.
Brian's mind blowers.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean, I don't think he was probably ever part of a religious-esque type thing, but I can see him being some kind of zealot for something, probably like a corporation or maybe the Empire or the Rebellion even. That would be really interesting to paint him as someone who was really gung-ho about the Rebellion, and then when they finally won and the Republic took over, they kind of gave him a shaft, and he was like, I did all this for nothing.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see the good guy get the raw deal.
I think that's a great basis for a story. You should write it.
I should.
For funsies.
Deet, deet. Well, that was my one I was going to do next, too. So do you want to go again, or do you want me to?
You can go next.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say Imbo because, and I quote myself, he's better than Boba and better than Bane. Imbo.
That was so dramatic.
I know, thank you.
I don't know enough about Imbo to really talk about him.
That's true. All you need to know is that he has a helmet that he can use as a surfboard, skateboard, and snowboard, and he basically has a dog. So, I mean, what more do you need to know?
Space pupper.
Space pupper indeed.
I like it.
Yeah, I just think that we have all these people that want to know more and more and more about Boba, and I feel like we kind of already know enough about. Honestly, I didn't put him on my...
Yeah, that's one I'm kind of...
Yeah, he would be an honorable mention for I don't really care to know more about him. I actually preferred knowing less about him. Fleshing him out in the Clone Wars was not that interesting to me. But Imbo, on the other hand, I would love to see just like some random Imbo out there taking some bounties, kicking butt and chewing bubblegum, fresh out of bubblegum. Imbo.
That was great.
Yeah. Some more Imbo, please. Imbo's awesome.
My next one, I don't know if this is covered in the new Thrawn book, but I want more stories about Eli / the Chiss.
Oh.
But particularly Eli and his going
What
off.
happens after? Yeah.
Just because that story really intrigues me, mostly because I got really attached to Eli.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like the idea of the Chiss potentially showing up in 9 being like the third party that like wrecks stuff and then goes away.
That would be amazing, yeah. If they just show up and they're like, we're tired of you two fighting. We're going to take you both out. And then they just go home.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the adult, just come in and be like, smack them both and just leave.
But I think that Eli being the apprentice of Thrawn, it's that apprenticeship without it being the Force. Whether it's a Jedi or a Sith, it's that master apprentice without the presence of the Force, which is...
Right. It's kind of like the, not evil, but the other faction version of kind of like what Leia and Poe have going.
Yeah.
Which you see a lot more of in the comic than on screen.
But, I mean, what Eli and Thrawn were doing within the Empire shows that humanity of the Empire. They truly thought they were doing what was right for the world. For the world, galaxy.
Yeah, Eli did. Thrawn, I think, knew what was going on the whole time just because he's Thrawn.
Yeah.
And he was loyal to the Chiss, I think. I don't know. We're going to find out in Alliances, I think.
I know. I'm excited to binge it on the plane.
Yeah, they do mention Eli, just FYI. But
oh, cool.
Yeah, fun.
Well, I'm excited to dive into that story. But I want to see that on screen too, just because I think Eli would be a great character to show up.
It would be interesting to see if Eli kind of takes over the Thrawn persona since, as I've said before, Thrawn did dirty in Rebels, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I think I would rather have him stabbed by Rook than taken away by space whale things. But we digress. So that's Eli and the Chiss would be awesome.
Eli and the Chiss. What's your next one?
Eli and the Chiss. Anyway. My next one is Snook. Snook.
I can't believe I didn't write down Snoke.
I know. I think everyone's just like, he got cut in half and everyone just decided they don't care who he is anymore.
I mean, I think I still care.
I absolutely care. He's a pivotal part of the creation of the First Order. Or at least, he doesn't exist in the Empire anywhere that we know of. I mean, maybe he's some weird half-clone of Palpatine and everything's just legends. But anyway, they find him or he finds them and he leads them. But why? Why do they trust a mysterious, goofy-looking old dude again? Is it really just because Star Wars is derivative or is there a good story there?
I feel
That's
like there
the
has to be
question.
a good story.
I hope so. I mean, JJ had to have something in mind. He wasn't just putting a Palpatine placeholder there. I want to believe that anyway. And part of me believes that, like he did with maybe everything JJ had in mind, Rian Johnson destroyed it and then handed it back to him, and it's a pile of rubble. But, and I mean
you never
maybe
know.
we'll never know.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. When people are like, well, JJ, looked over the script and he liked all this, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, okay, maybe. But I don't know. If someone, basically poo-pooed over your thing, would you really, say something?
Yeah, especially when you're up to do the next film. Are you going to be like, yeah, this is dumb, but I'll try to make it work? No. That's a PR nightmare. Star Wars has enough of those as far as directors go.
Even if he's okay with the direction it took, I have a hard time thinking that they both basically have the same exact idea because they're two human beings. So,
well, yeah, obviously they didn't.
It's going to be different, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think there's documented information.
I just hope that we get, a making of, kind of.
Yeah, once it's all said and done, I would love to know, exactly what George's outline was, what JJ's overall outline was, versus what we end up with, and how far removed we are from either two of those things.
Yeah, just because I find that interesting, not that I'm upset with how The Last Jedi was.
Yeah,
it's more of just curiosity.
Exactly.
Because storytelling is interesting, and I like to hear the differences in shared storytelling, how that morphed a story, and blah, blah, blah.
Right, yeah. I mean, well, Phasma, I'm sure JJ's vision of Phasma probably wasn't what Delilah Dawson and whoever wrote the comic came up with. She was probably just, this is a really cool, important character with silver armor. I mean, it might not have been more than that. The way she was treated, I would think probably there wasn't a whole lot going on there. But who knows? Maybe.
Yeah.
So more Snoke.
More Snoke.
Snook.
You could go anywhere with it.
There's got to be
because
a million stories, or at least just one, who is the guy? There's
so little information that it's it really could be anything at this point. But moving on.
Yes, go ahead.
My next one, I had a hard time with picking a third because there's a lot of different characters that really would have been a good choice. But at this point, right now, recently, I've been feeling I'm going to change it on the spot.
Oh, man.
I want to hear more about Kira.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's a great one.
I was going to say, what I wrote down was Holdo. Just because I want to know how she got into that position of power. What has she done whenever they say that?
Why doesn't she wear a uniform?
Well, yeah. Or when Poe says that General Holdo.
Oh, yeah. Why has she got such a reputation?
Yeah, what gives her the reputation? I want to hear those stories because they sound like they would be very cool and very awesome.
Right. And apparently she is in that Princess of Alderaan book, but
anyway.
Yeah.
The kind of lady who comes up with a plan and then it doesn't go the way she thinks it does, and then she decides to basically hyperdrive a spaceship through another spaceship. Someone who comes up with that on the spot. I want to know what they've done in battle before.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Kira. Because I really need to know, point A to B, all the steps in between, or kind of a rough idea between when she's with Han on Corellia to when they meet up on the space party barge thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, and the funny thing is some people online have really assumed a certain direction where I assumed a much more violent, we'll say, direction. So I guess the interpretation is open there for what you think they're going for as far as when they say, the things she's done, blah, blah, blah. But it would be interesting to find out a less vague.
Right. And that was one of my criticisms of Solo, was that we're well, the things she's done. It's they never even mention the things that she's done. They act like it's such this huge deal, but they never even hint at what it was. Let's hear what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Or some of the things, or maybe one story. Because I'm definitely one of those people, I don't need to know every single thing between. I think that's why we get characters like we have in the next list of the ones that we're really tired of hearing of. But I think Kira is just an interesting character as well, because we have, once again, I'm hoping for this genuinely not the best person as a woman.
Right. Someone that decides consciously to do the wrong thing.
And we have that in Phasma, but also Phasma has a weird self-preservation element.
Right, yeah, to do the wrong thing for just because. Not for some greater good or weird personal Mad Max upbringing.
Yeah, I think that Kira would have this like inner conflict, and I want to see that struggle between her basically wanting to not hurt Han, but also she's out for herself.
Mm-hmm. I definitely don't need to see anything about her and Maul, though, because
I do.
Maul would definitely be another person that I would put on my next list.
That's okay. That's your prerogative, but Kira is just too interesting for me right now.
Kira is cool. Yeah, the Kira after all this stuff takes place is a very interesting character, I think, that we could use more of.
Yeah, even after that, I think that she would be someone I want to know more about as the crime lord.
Right, or the, Maul's lieutenant. I don't know.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever.
So moving on to
dun dun dun
3 characters who you personally have had enough of, and why?
I will say first and foremost, Ahsoka.
That's my number 1.
Yeah, we just lost all our fan base.
Aww.
They're like, how dare you?
It's just...
No one speaks ill of Ahsoka.
First of all, Ahsoka's not my favorite character. That's not, like, a surprise. But also, I just feel like we have a lot of Ahsoka stories.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not the only strong female character in the universe.
True that. She's just someone that should have died in Rebels.
Oh my gosh.
But then she got pulled out of a portal in the middle of space.
Anyway. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Do you have it out of your system?
I think good.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I thought Ahsoka's place was really interesting in Rebels. She had that whole walked away from the Jedi, but she's still a good guy. So she's fighting the good fight. She comes back. She gets to finish her arc with Anakin/Vader. It was a really nice way for her to go out. She even had this cool, like, one-liner. I don't know. That's just the way it should happen.
Yeah. I think
that would have been perfect. That would have been like the perfect amount of Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm. We're just a couple ounces heavy on Ahsoka.
Yeah, we're about to get like pounds heavier, I think.
I know. Like I said, again, it's not that Ahsoka's a bad character overall. She's not my favorite, but I think that we've had enough stories with her at the center. I think a lot of times in Forces of Destiny, I felt like Padme was so crowded by her.
Oh my gosh.
So that was frustrating to me because I wanted to hear more
it's
solo.
Like Padme's her sidekick.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Because Padme is this amazing character on her own.
I was really excited. I mean, I'm probably not going to read it, but I was really excited to see that the Padme novel is before episode 2. So there will be no Ahsoka. There will be no Anakin. It will be Padme being Padme, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. I agree.
But so I'm probably still not going to read
it. Anyway, so I also had Ahsoka on my list. The next one for me... Okay, so here's the rest of our fan base. Ezra.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of over it. I think this is a good way for Ezra to go out. I know it's not going to be the last.
No. Honestly, you talked about this the other day, about how there should be some kind of Venn diagram of Ezra fans and Thrawn fans. And then there's that little teeny overlap of people that like them both. And they're like, well, how do we get both these people on board with whatever we do in the future? Oh, I know. We'll stick them together and blast them into who
Honestly,
knows where.
That's why I was going to write down Thrawn as someone I want more stories about, but I didn't for 2 reasons. One, we just got a new book, so I can't really complain. But also, I don't want Thrawn to come back sometimes because I don't want Ezra to come back.
Yeah, the tag along is not worth it.
I know, and it's like frustrating. It's like, oh, I want Thrawn to come back. But then we have to deal with Ezra.
Yeah, and you know who else comes tagging along with the whole Ezra story? Ahsoka.
Oh my goodness, you're right.
Yeah, so
I'm okay with Sabine though. Sabine can join at any time.
True that. I really wish she would have gone back and like had a whole Mandalore story.
I know, and I also was very sad whenever she gave up the Darksaber. That was just like hard for me. I was like, no, I want Sabine to be the ruler of Mandalore and like be this awesome Jedi not Jedi person. Because I don't know, I love Sabine.
Yeah, she's rad. Most deaf.
So what's your next one?
I put Phasma. I think, to me, Phasma died on Starkiller. We didn't need all that, especially after what happened in episode 8. We gave her all this backstory, and then she magically got away, and then she just died again really quickly.
Yeah.
It's just like,
It was rough.
come on. And I'm so happy she's not going to be back in 9. That would
Force
be...
Ghost Phasma.
Force Ghost Phasma.
Calling it now.
Oh
There's
my
gonna be lightning coming out of the sky. Yoda will be chilling there, and then Phasma's just like,
what up, my
out.
dudes? It's me, Phastastic.
Phastastic.
Chilling with my Force dogs.
Oh my gosh.
You like my armor? Silver.
Smooth.
Shiny.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's a sore subject for a lot of people.
Yeah, man. Like, a lot of people really liked her fleshed out content. I didn't care for it. It's a good book. Just didn't feel like a Star Wars book. And it honestly has really no point because it doesn't factor into what we see on screen. The deleted scene kind of merges it together a little bit, but it's deleted. So is it real? I don't know. Not really. That's why it got deleted. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
So my next one's a little controversial.
Oh, snap. Let's hear it.
Anakin.
Yeah, I mean, like,
how much more do we need?
Everything.
I know, exactly. How much more Anakin / Vader do we really need? Granted, I would not be sad about a Force Ghost Anakin in Episode 9.
Right.
But that's different. It's different.
Is it though? But yeah, I mean, I'm
feel like
with
it's
you.
Different.
Like, he's in all the movies except for 8, really. I mean, he's sorta in 7, even, really, if you think about it. His presence is there. Yeah. He's got 2 comics. He's in the main comic.
Clone Wars. Come on.
He's in Rebels.
Yep.
He's in, like, I don't know, half a dozen books. He's in Rogue One.
I want him in Rogue One forever, though.
Oh yeah,
like,
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about any of it. Like, I'm
right. I just think Vader's that, like, why do we need to
so.
focus more on Anakin when there's like all these other characters and a whole galaxy full of potential characters that we could explore?
Very true. Come new at me. I'm ready.
And I get that there's this pull to always connect Star Wars back to the original trilogy characters, because that's what we started with, that's the lightning in the bottle, that's what everyone wants to grow upon. Mm-hmm. But we gotta move on at some point.
Yeah, and I think we're going to. Like, after 9, I think there's going to be a really big gap, except for, probably in comics and novels and stuff. But as far as in the theater, I don't think either of the 2 upcoming trilogies are really going to touch on the content we have. I have this feeling anyway, but I could be very wrong. Probably am. They're probably both about Ahsoka. 6 Ahsoka movies, yay.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, enough ragging on Ahsoka.
I know, poor Ahsoka. She's great. She's wonderful for many people, so good for her.
I wish I liked...
And she's an alien. Like, God bless the fact that she's an alien.
Right,
Let me say that. That's my number one favorite thing.
Maybe that's Ahsoka. What we should have just put down. Alien. As our wanting more stories. Doesn't matter who.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want more aliens. I specifically want Rhodians, but that's just me.
I like it. I want Yu Zhang Bong. Bong for life.
Of course you do.
So maintaining this get our fan base mad at us routine, I picked Obi-Wan.
Oh, snap. I agree with you.
I don't need an Obi-Wan movie. I'll watch it if they make one. And I think this is probably where a lot of people are with Han Solo too. But I'm super excited for Master and Apprentice and anything about Obi-Wan before Episode 1.
Yes.
But Obi-Wan existing within any of the time frame we already have, I don't think we need. We know what he's doing. He's waiting for Luke. There's not much of a story there. You could force one, and he's Obi-Wan. He's great. It could be good. But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, none of this stuff is necessary. We can debate that philosophically later if you want to. But I just don't see in the vastness of the Star Wars universe why we need an Obi-Wan story between 3 and 4.
Well, yeah. I mean, don't tell me a story like, oh, he actually left Tatooine and then came back real quick.
You're not doing your job if you did that. That's dumb.
I don't like that idea.
Bad.
And also, like, what are you going to do? I mean, the only other thing I can think of is more of like a Logan-ish kind of story, Old Man Logan kind of, or maybe even like just vignettes.
Yeah, that's what I always think of it in my head. The only thing that I find that would be interesting is like a kung fu type situation where he just kind of wanders around nearby settlements and fixes things that are wrong.
Yeah, maybe.
He's just, and he's like this.
Well, at the beginning, whenever he hands Luke over to his aunt and uncle, he's probably the most broken he's ever been.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe you have the story of him,
like picking up the pieces.
Yeah, and basically it's probably very similar to the story of Baze, but he goes the other direction.
It's not bad. We brought up Baze twice. That's pretty good. It's a
Rogue One
Baze heavy.
for life.
It's such a good movie.
It really
really is.
So, those are ours. Let us know
What are yours?
what yours are. Who do you want to hear more stories about? Who are you checked out on? You're good. Let us know on Twitter at hyperspace_pod.
Send us an email at hyperspacepodblast@gmail.com.
And you can always check out our content on hyperspacepodblast.com.
Right as rain, bruh. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.